I'll just read a little bit of it to you because it's a long one. Gentlemen, he says, you have gathered here today in response to the invitation of the Satyagraha Committee. As the chairman of that committee, I gratefully welcome you all. This lake at Mahad is public property. The caste Hindus of Mahad are so reasonable that they not only draw water from the lake themselves, but freely permit people of any religion to draw water from it, and accordingly people of other religions such as Islam do make use of this permission. Nor do the caste Hindus prevent members of species considered lower than human, such as birds and beasts, from drinking at the lake. Moreover, they freely permit beasts kept by the untouchables to drink at the lake. The caste Hindus of Mahad prevent the untouchables from drinking the water of the Chawadar lake, not because they suppose the touch of the untouchables will pollute the water or that it will evaporate and vanish. The reason for preventing the untouchables from drinking it is that they do not wish to acknowledge by such permission that castes declared inferior by sacred tradition are in fact their equals. It is not as if drinking the water of the Chawadar lake will make us immortal. We have survived well enough all these days without drinking it. We are not going to the Chawadar lake merely to drink its water. We are going to the lake to assert that we too are human beings like others. It must be clear that this meeting has been called to set up the norm of equality. Time and again, Ambedkar returned to the theme of equality. Men may not all be equal, he said, but equality was the only possible governing principle because the classification and assortment of human society was impossible. The thousands attending the conference were in a militant mood. They wanted to defy the court injunction and march to the tank. Ambedkar decided against it, hoping that after hearing the matter, the courts would declare that untouchables did have the right to use public wells. He thought that a judicial order would be a substantial step forward from just a municipal resolution. Although the High Court did eventually lift the injunction, it found a technical way around making the legal declaration in favor of untouchables, like the judge who almost 80 years later wrote the Khairlanji judgment. That same month, in December 1927, Gandhi spoke at an All India Suppressed Classes conference in Lahore, where he preached a gospel opposite to Ambedkar's. He urged untouchables to fight for their rights by sweet persuasion and not by satyagraha, which becomes duragraha, when it is intended to give rude shock to the deep-rooted prejudices of the people. Duragraha he defined as a devilish force. Ambedkar never forgot Gandhi's response to the Mahad Satyagraha, and in 1945, in what the Congress and Gandhi have done to untouchables, he said, the untouchables were not without hope of getting the moral support of Mr. Gandhi. Indeed, they had very good ground for getting it. For the weapon of satyagraha, the essence of which is to melt the heart of the opponent by suffering, was the weapon which was forged by Mr. Gandhi and who had led the Congress to practice it against the British government. Naturally, the untouchables expected full support from Mr. Gandhi to their satyagraha against the Hindus, the object of which was to establish their right to take water from public wells and to enter public Hindu temples. Mr. Gandhi, however, did not give his support to the satyagraha. Not only did he not give his support, he condemned it in strong terms. Anyway, it's, I think, something that we all have to be very, very ashamed of, that all these years we have allowed this myth to go on and on and on. I just think that it has to stop now. It has to stop, and by no standards. We have, there's much that I've written about what I call the project of unseeing, where even the left has just acted as if caste doesn't exist. There's a whole section in the introduction about how caste and capitalism coexist so beautifully. Who owns the media, who owns the corporations, who's in the judiciary, who's in the bureaucracy, who's in the academia. All of this, there is empirical data in this book. And now I think I'll just stop and have a conversation. Thank you.